Do you know what's actually happening in your cat's brain when they stare at your glass of water and then casually bat it off the table? Most owners think it's just bad behavior. But what's really driving that action is something most people completely misunderstand. It's not spite, and it's not boredom. It's hardwired into who they are. What's really going on might completely change how you see your cat's most annoying habit. Here's what you need to understand from the start. 1. It's not chaos, it's hunting practice. Have you ever watched your cat knock something off a surface and then just stare at it as it falls? They're not being destructive for fun. They're doing exactly what their brain tells them to do. Cats are ambush predators. In the wild, their ancestors spent hours perfecting the skill of using their paws to test, prod, and manipulate objects. That's how they figured out if something was prey, if it was alive, and whether it was worth the energy to chase. Your remote control isn't a mouse. But to your cat's brain, the testing process is identical. They tap it. They watch how it moves. They push harder to see what happens next. It's not random, it's methodical. And here's the thing. That behavior doesn't just disappear because your cat lives indoors now. Their instincts don't know the difference between a pen on your desk and a lizard on a rock. Both are small, movable, and sitting in a place that demands investigation. A study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that domestic cats retain the same prey-directed behaviors as their wild counterparts, even when they've never hunted a day in their lives. The drive is genetic. It doesn't need to be taught, and it doesn't fade just because they have a full food bowl. So when your cat knocks your keys off the counter, they're not trying to annoy you. They're running a test their DNA has been running for thousands of years. But this is only part of the picture. Because what happens after the object falls is just as important as the push itself. 2. The reaction is the reward. Why does your cat keep doing it over and over, even after you've scolded them a dozen times? Because every single time they knock something over, something interesting happens. The object moves. It makes a noise. And most importantly, you react. To a cat, that's a jackpot. Think about it from their perspective. They live in a world where most things are static. The couch doesn't move. The wall doesn't respond. But that cup on the edge of the table, that thing comes alive the second they touch it. It tumbles, it crashes, and suddenly you're jumping up, talking, maybe even running toward them. Even if you're yelling, your cat doesn't process it as punishment. They process it as engagement. You were ignoring them, and now you're not. Mission accomplished. Behaviorists call this attention-seeking behavior, but it's more accurate to say it's feedback-seeking behavior. Your cat is experimenting with cause and effect, and your reaction is part of the data they collect. A paper in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior explained that cats are highly responsive to environmental consequences. If an action produces a result, especially a dynamic one, they're far more likely to repeat it. Your cat isn't dumb. They've learned that knocking things over works. It gets movement. It gets sound. It gets you. And as long as those three things keep happening, the behavior will too. So if you've been reacting every time your cat does this, you've accidentally been training them to do it more. And honestly, that's on us, not them. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Because the need to knock things over doesn't show up equally in every cat. Some do it constantly. Others barely touch your stuff. What makes the difference? 3. Boredom makes it worse, and most cats are bored. Does your cat knock things over more when you're busy, when you've been gone all day? When they've been alone for hours with nothing to do, that's not a coincidence. Cats are hunters, which means they're built to be mentally and physically active for several hours a day. In the wild, they'd spend that time stalking, chasing, and problem-solving. But in your home, most of that stimulation is missing. There's no prey to chase, no terrain to navigate, no real challenges that require focus. So what does a smart, understimulated predator do? They create their own entertainment. And the easiest, most reliable source of stimulation is right there on your countertop. A study from the University of California found that indoor cats with limited environmental enrichment were significantly more likely to engage in attention-seeking and destructive behaviors. It's not that your cat is bad. It's that they're bored out of their mind, and knocking your phone off the nightstand is the most exciting thing available. The behavior spikes in homes where cats don't have enough to do. No climbing structures, no puzzle feeders, no rotating toys, no hunting games. When the environment is static, the cat will find the one thing that isn't, and that thing is usually yours. This is why some cats stop knocking things over once their owners start playing with them regularly. The need doesn't go away, but it gets redirected. The brain gets what it's looking for, just in a way that doesn't involve your coffee mug hitting the floor. If your cat is constantly pushing your stuff around, ask yourself this. When's the last time they actually got to hunt something, even if it's fake? If the answer is rarely or never, that's probably your answer. 4. It's about control, and cats need it more than you think. Here's something most people don't realize. Cats are control-driven animals. Unlike dogs, who are pack-oriented and look to others for structure, cats are solitary hunters. They survive by controlling their environment, not by adapting to someone else's rules. In your home, your cat controls very little. You decide when they eat. You decide when the door opens. You decide if the lights stay on. They can't change any of that, but they can change what happens to that pen sitting on the edge of your desk. That tiny act of pushing something and watching it fall gives them a sense of agency. They made something happen. They influenced the world around them. And for a creature that spends most of their day powerless, that feeling matters. Research in animal psychology shows that animals with opportunities to manipulate their environment show lower stress levels and more confident behavior overall. It's why enrichment isn't just about fun. It's about giving your cat choices, control, and the ability to impact their surroundings in meaningful ways. When that's missing, they'll find it in other ways. Your cat isn't trying to ruin your day. They're trying to feel like they have some say in their own life. And the lamp on your nightstand just happens to be the easiest vote they can cast. 5. The one thing that actually stops it. So if this behavior is instinctual, rewarding, and tied to boredom and control, does that mean you're stuck with it forever? Not even close. But yelling at your cat won't fix it. And neither will just moving your stuff out of reach. You have to replace the behavior with something better. Start by giving your cat a legal outlet for the same drive. Puzzle feeders that require pawing and manipulation. Toys that move unpredictably when touched. Balls that roll off surfaces on purpose. These aren't distractions. They're substitutes that satisfy the exact same instinct. Next, stop reacting when they knock things over. Seriously. No yelling, no chasing, no eye contact. If they push something and you act like nothing happened, the behavior loses half its value. The feedback loop breaks. Then, and this is the part most people skip, start giving your cat scheduled play sessions that mimic hunting. Use a wand toy. Make it dart like prey. Let them stalk it, chase it, and catch it. Do this twice a day for even just 10 minutes and watch how fast the countersurfing drops. A study in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found that cats given regular interactive play showed significant reductions in attention-seeking and destructive behaviors within 2 weeks. It's not magic. It's just meeting the need before it turns into a problem. Your cat doesn't want to annoy you. They want to hunt, to control something, and to know their actions matter. Give them that in the right way, and the glasses stay on the table.